So here we have the top 5 average scores. We kind of talked about it before. Yeah, Runt head and shoulders 2k above everyone else, and then from 3rd to 6th it was relatively
Only
close.
like 1.5 with Twinkles. He's up there. He's doing things.
All right, 1.4. All right. I was only looking at the first 2 digits. Give me a break. Anyway, still blowing it out of the water. Very impressive.
How is
Yeah.
Tiger there on last line?
Tiger's
How's he
just
done
a
this?
goat. He's too good.
How's he done this?
Fantasy Tiger, everyone. Get him on your thing. Unless Benson decides to up the
He's gonna
value
be like
of Tiger.
1.2 mil, and that for a first year player is hilarious.
Yeah. Top 5 tag ratios: Husky, Spider, Jellyhawk, Peregrine, Runt. Husky, yeah, very much had the best tag ratio. Spider, impressively, was very close. I think he was last lining a bit this tournament, actually. But I mean, also he was just on doors and attacking. No matter where this guy plays, he's always in the top 3 tag ratios of every tournament ever. So no surprise. Jellyhawk, Peregrine, the last lines for their respective teams. So they're obviously getting something right. If you're struggling last line in Hobart, maybe watch some of these guys play. And then Runt, you decided to, it would be rude for you to not be. I think it's the first time you weren't in the top 3 of tag ratio at the prenup.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a victory for the people. Top 5 bases, again. It was Runt, myself, Fuggin, Tiger, and then Twinkles. Very, very microscopically close between Runt and myself. And then very close between the bottom 3 as well. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Top 5 denies 4. So Peregrine from last line was getting heaps of denials, which you would normally wouldn't expect, because the last line is normally the last person that gets shot before they start shooting the base. So they're not normally going to have time to get in and get the denial, but Peregrine's found a way.
And that's a really interesting stat. I'm wondering if it's because the Spartans push their last line out of the base, so teams are running past them and going, I'm gonna shoot this base, and then 2 rock up, they go, there's the door defenders, but then their anchor also rocks up and gets the denial. I'm very curious if that's what's happening.
That could be it. And then Celery Spider, Polchrome, Gunner rounding out the rear end. Gunner, don't know how he's Gunner. I guess he's just everywhere all at once and just shooting people. I don't know.
Gunner.
Top 5 denies against. Favorite stat. In order: Wax, VG Master, Gustus, Simi Bear, and Easy Points. Wax, head, shoulders, knees, and toes above everyone else in terms of denies against. Very nicely done. And then the rest of them were relatively close. Yep, well done, Wax. You did win something at least. And now we have our prediction accuracy. Predictions were completely out of whack because obviously the Orcas roster changed like drastically. And who were the other? I think there was another big mover. Like Outlaws was a big mover.
Everybody.
Spartans were a big mover. Yeah, crazy
Outlaws
business.
Screwed me in particular a lot. And once again, Cowboys, if you could just have stayed in your lane, you were doing so well. Then I would have lost the stupid community. Never doing community voting again, by the way, guys. That was it. Don't look at how it went. Never again.
It's done. We can't have these guys beating us. This isn't cool. Chutz thought that was funny as well that you lost. But yes, just to quickly explain it again, the way it works is the score next to, so we've got everyone's prediction. So mine, Runts, Spiders, the community one, and the final one, which is the average of all of them. The score next to the team name is how many positions off we were from the actual finished placement. So I had a pretty bad prediction accuracy this one with 32, coming off a win last time to a dead last this one. What's going on? Spider was next with 31. The average final official LSA ones was next in 29. Runt in second with 26, and the community absolutely nailed it, 22. Take away the big mover of the Orcas. That's a very good score. we got any other observations or anything we want to say about this? Other than we're not
Nah.
doing community ever again because these guys
Yeah. I
beat
think it'll
us.
be
But,
what us against Sinkless next time, won't it?
true, we might as well put Sinkless in there as well. Hopefully
Yeah.
that's done by then.
Is the LSA community top Sinks list? That's gonna be a good question.
Find out. That I'm
But
keen for. See if the
separate
community.
category to us. We get our own category. Screw those
Yeah,
guys.
they're not included in. Yeah, obviously. I think that was that's the last thing I have. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
There was one more thing that I added the base results into that slide, I think.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't see them, bro.
Oh, what?
Oh no, it is there now. Hold up. Slideshow. Share screen. Share that one. Share. There we go. All right, we'll talk about the base stats quickly, and then I think we'll wrap up the show because we're already at like 3 hours. My goodness.
So 3 hours is surprisingly good. Like, it sounds bad, but I'm surprised how good we did. So this is the cascade base results. So if you want accurate base results, you often exclude round robin because everyone's still learning, and you exclude finals because it's obviously biased and teams thinking a base is good, but not necessarily based on its performance. So yes, this is how base is performed as best we can estimate at pre-nuts 3. Pretty much very even between very even between red and green. Blue had slightly more seconds, whether that's due to people not being able to hit the base, not too sure. The first though, like pretty much on par with other teams, and you can be pretty confident, especially with how many teams that were picking it in Ascensions. Like I'm very happy with this balancing. How insane is it? We go from blue base being absolute dog water, terrible base, so far behind. Green also terrible, and red far ahead. To adding 3 walls on the complete other side of the arena, 3 small walls, and blue is all of a sudden super competitively viable and the first choice for a lot of bases. It just goes to show how complex maze design is, and such a tiny thing on the other side of the maze can have this whole big butterfly ripple effect, and it's so cool to watch it happen because yeah, now all the bases are like pretty well balanced. I don't know if they're like almost as well balanced as Bendigo, and Bendigo have identical bases, so that's a win in my books.
Yeah, I think it really bodes well going into Nats. I think anyone going to a Nats wants the bases to be as even as possible, even if they're different, just like in terms of your ability to just win a game out of that base. They want it to be as even as possible. So I think this bodes really well going into a Nats. And I think a lot of, maybe we'll see with the changes to blue in terms of like how easy the base is to hit. We might see Blue's win rate drop a little bit, but I'll be curious to see. We'll find out in like 5 weeks or something, right? 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it also harkens back to the theory that I've been saying each pre-nuts. I'm like, no. Blue's good. You guys just people aren't seeing the vision because it's in cascading order of like difficulty to play. It's red is the easiest, green is second easiest, and blue is the hardest to play. So I think what we're saying is teams are actually learning how to play blue, and now the game is the bases are starting to even out because the more simple base is being given less traction when other players are working out how to play the more complex bases, and they're not necessarily catching up because they were super buffed. It's because people are learning the complexity. So I think that's fun to watch.
So you got any observations on the Cascade base results before we wrap up?
Just that our team must have the smallest brain because we probably contributed 7 of those 9/3.
Nice.
No, all good. Yeah, great chart. Pretty. Anybody who hosts a tournament wants to see something that looks similar to that, pretty much. So, yeah. And it's good that the bases vary in complexity too. I think it's got everything in this arena. It's got we were talking about it earlier. I think it's just a really good competition arena in terms of complexity, and different teams are preferring different bases, and it's not a simple arena, but it's also it's achievable for it to to catch the home team within the allocated time that we have to play. Hopefully, at least get close to them.
I think 2 weeks you can learn anything, right? Like, so I'm glad people are enjoying it. I've heard pretty much nothing but positive feedback except for the blue base thing, which I'll go over now. What we've done is hours of testing, so I really hope that people can shoot it. Base was sitting quite deep and far back in the corner. Pre-nuts 2, it was rotated 45 degrees. Network port was on the front side of the base, exposed to shooters in half wall, which means if you shoot that direct, it's not going to reg. So you were looking for those mirror shots more. A lot of the time it'll still reg, but you can be less inaccurate when the network ports are there. So what we've done, we've dropped it down, brought it closer to the front, so it's down and closer to the front of the base, and it's been spun around so the network ports are now facing towards the right hand side of the. If you're looking at the base, from green side, the network cables have been pushed to the far wall, so the network cables should be out of the way if you're shooting it directly. They are out of the way if you're shooting it directly. So the sensors are exposed to the reflect from shooters and the two sides of triangle. Now, the important part about dropping the base and bring it forward is it means every position, every key position can see the base directly. So, and if you hit the base, you're gonna hit it. Like we've tested, like you shoot speakers, you shoot network ports, it's fine. And like you can crouch right down and hide in the corner of shooters, and you can still hit that base directly. So now it is a base where every single key shooter spot can hit the base directly. So the reflex are there if you want to use them, but remember, if you're struggling to hit the reflex or anything like that, or you don't want to learn reflex and you just want to hit the base directly, that is achievable from all key spots, and your phaser does not need to be exposed to do so. But yeah, if you want to learn the reflex, they might make the shot easier or fit your playstyle better, but it will be competitively viable to hit the base directly from every spot. So I'm hoping that nobody complains about the reflex because they're an optional addition. The base is viewable directly. Sound good?
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's not like you'll be up. It's not like you'll be able to see the base, but your laser will. Remember, our eyes don't need to see it; our gun does. So yeah, know where the base is. We'll have time to drill it out. You'll have a heap of unallocated training. It's still in that box. It couldn't go anywhere else. We couldn't put it on the wall anywhere because it could be accidentally shot from the outside. And when a base can be accidentally shot from the outside, it's terrible for competitive play. So it had to stay in there, and we've spent hours dropping it, assessing it, fine tuning it to as good as it can be. So yeah.
Well, I'm
I think
sure
I'll,
anyone that attended Prenuts 3 will very much appreciate the effort
Yeah.
that's gone into changing it, and we'll see how we go. People will still find something.
Oh, people are going to complain, but people complain about missing red base, and at that point, it's like it's an open base with no foils. Like I think you just don't know how to shoot the base in the nicest possible way. So yeah, hopefully people don't struggle too much, and yeah, hopefully people aren't blaming the base when they can't aim.
Yeah. Well, it's not the base; it'll be something else.
Yeah.
I got denied because my door defended my attacking
That's
partner
a good
didn't
one.
come anything.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd say
do
we
more of
fully
that now.
embrace that and don't hate on blue base anymore. It's had enough.
Yeah.
It was deserved, granted. But it should be fine for Nats now. It will still be the hardest base to hit, but hey, it makes the base more balanced. But yeah.